Could Christian Wilkins join the New England Patriots? NFL news. Christian Wilkins' NFL journey is about to take a dramatic turn. But here's the twist. His future might just hinge on a single sentence. The New England Patriots, under the watchful eye of head coach Mike Vrabel, are reportedly set to have a conversation about bringing the former defensive tackle into their fold. Sounds simple, right? But here's where it gets controversial. Will this be a strategic move to bolster their defense or a gamble on a player still recovering from a lingering foot injury? Let's break it down. Wilkins, a Massachusetts native who honed his skills in Connecticut high schools, isn't a stranger to New England's football culture. Vrabel himself once recruited him during his tenure at Ohio State, adding a layer of personal history to this potential reunion. But the stakes are high. After being cut loose by the Las Vegas Raiders last week, Wilkins is now a free agent navigating the tricky waters of contract negotiations and injury rehab. The Raiders' decision to void the remaining guaranteed money on his contract raises eyebrows. Was it purely medical, or are there deeper issues at play? The injury timeline is murky. Wilkins has been sidelined for months with a foot ailment, but the Raiders' official stance offers no clarity on whether this stems from his recovery progress or other undisclosed factors. For Patriots fans, this ambiguity is both thrilling and nerve-wracking. On one hand, Wilkins brings 5 years of NFL experience, including a standout stint with the Miami Dolphins. On the other, his recent performance with the Raiders was limited to just 5 games, sparking debates about his current value. And this is the part most people miss. Vrabel's conversation isn't just about Wilkins' physical readiness. It's about trust. Can the Patriots trust a player who's already faced setbacks? Can Wilkins prove he's still the dominant force he once was? Meanwhile, the Raiders' move to void his contract guarantees hints at a complex calculus. Did they want to save cap space? Or did Wilkins' injury mask a bigger problem? So here's the big question. Should teams take a chance on veteran talent like Wilkins when uncertainty looms large, or is it wiser to invest in younger, healthier prospects? We'd love to hear your take. Drop a comment below. Are you rooting for Wilkins' comeback, or does this feel like a risky gamble? The Patriots' next move could set the tone for their season. Let the debate begin. Raiders' bold decision, Christian Wilkins' release, and future plans. The Las Vegas Raiders are making headlines, and not in a good way, as they release defensive tackle Christian Wilkins just a year after signing him to a massive contract. This situation is a complex one, filled with injury setbacks, financial disputes, and a whole lot of unanswered questions. Let's dive in and unpack what's really going on. Raiders coach Pete Carroll, not to be confused with the former Seattle Seahawks coach of the same name, addressed the media, stating that the decision to release Wilkins wasn't a hasty one. He emphasized that the team took their time, carefully assessing the situation before making their move. "We took a long time to make our decision," Carroll explained. "We watched our way through the whole thing. We're keeping it really clear with what we said. I think there was no clear path to his return, so we just had to move on." This echoes the official statement released by the Raiders organization, which was unusually blunt. They cited Wilkins' inability to provide a clear path or plan for future return to play as the primary reason for his release. This suggests a significant breakdown in communication and trust between the player and the team. But here's where it gets controversial. Wilkins' injury history is at the heart of this drama. He suffered a foot injury in Week 5 of the previous season, which required surgery. Unfortunately, his recovery hit a snag, preventing him from participating in off-season practices and ultimately landing him on the physically unable to perform PUP list just before training camp opened. This setback seems to have been the final straw for the Raiders. Adding fuel to the fire is the financial aspect. Wilkins, 29, was the Raiders' big-ticket free agent acquisition last year, signing a lucrative 4-year, $110 million contract with a whopping $82.75 million guaranteed. Now, the Raiders are attempting to void the remaining $35.25 million of his deal. This is where things get really messy, as it involves a significant amount of money and could have long-term implications for both the player and the team. And this is the part most people miss. Wilkins isn't taking this lying down. He has filed a grievance with the NFL Players Association, setting the stage for a legal battle. This means the situation could drag on for a while, potentially involving arbitration and further negotiations. The outcome of this grievance will be crucial, determining whether Wilkins receives the remaining money owed to him and potentially setting a precedent for similar situations in the future. With Wilkins off the roster, the Raiders are moving forward with Adam Butler and Jonah Laulu as their starting defensive tackles. Butler, who started 16 games last season, had a solid performance with 65 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, and 5 sacks. Laulu, a rookie, also showed promise, starting 7 games and recording 35 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and a sack. Both players were active in all 17 games. Coach Carroll emphasized the importance of competition within the team. "This place is about competition," he stated. "It always has been. It's wide open. I'm not going to talk about any names right now. If you watch the rotations, we're giving everybody a chance. We're mixing the starters with the backups all the way throughout just to gather a bunch of information." This whole situation raises some interesting questions. Was the Raiders' assessment of Wilkins' injury and recovery realistic? Did they rush into the decision to release him, or was it a carefully considered move? And perhaps most importantly, what does this mean for the future of player-team relationships in the NFL? What are your thoughts? Do you think the Raiders were justified in releasing Wilkins? Share your opinions in the comments below. Las Vegas Raiders claim DT Keondre Coburn. What to expect from the new addition? Imagine a defensive tackle who has already made a name for himself in the NFL, despite being just 2 years into his career. Meet Keondre Coburn, the latest addition to the Las Vegas Raiders, who has been claimed via waivers from the Tennessee Titans. But here's where it gets interesting. Coburn's journey to the Raiders is a testament to his perseverance and talent. The 6'2", 324-pound defensive tackle has been on a roller coaster ride since entering the NFL as a 6th-round pick, 194 overall, by the Kansas City Chiefs in the 2023 NFL Draft. And this is the part most people miss. Coburn's impressive college career, where he played 5 seasons, 2018 to 22, at the University of Texas, earning a second-team All-Big 12 selection, and honorable mention Big 12 Defensive Lineman of the Year honors in his senior campaign. But what does this mean for the Raiders? With Coburn on board, they're getting a player who has already shown promise in his young career, with 22 tackles, 10 solo, and 1 tackle for loss in 20 career games. However, some might argue that Coburn's lack of starting experience could be a concern. But let's not forget, he's still just 24 years old and has already played for 2 teams, including the Titans, where he spent the second half of 2023 and the entire 2024 season. As the Raiders look to bolster their defensive line, Coburn's addition raises an important question. Can he live up to his potential and become a key player for the team? We want to hear from you. Do you think Coburn was a good pickup for the Raiders, or are there other factors at play? Share your thoughts in the comments below. One thing is certain, though. Coburn's journey is far from over, and we can't wait to see what the future holds for this talented young player.